Heartwarming moment, 10-year-old girl drives billionaire to hospital after he faints. You won't believe what happened next. On a sweltering summer afternoon, with the sun hanging high and relentless, 10-year-old Emily Sullivan made the most of her day by running a small roadside lemonade stand outside their cramped home. The bright yellow sign read "Ice-cold lemonade for $1." And children zipped by on their bikes, laughter spilling like sunshine. Emily beamed, her heart racing with the thrill of the hustle. Every sip brought her one step closer to helping her mom, Sarah, keep food on the table. The clinking of coins filled her with pride, a little victory for a hard-working girl. Suddenly, the cheerful laughter turned into gasps, echoing across the street. Emily's gaze shifted to Roger Blake, the town's billionaire philanthropist, stumbling as his face drained of color. Time froze. With a speed she didn't know she possessed, Emily dashed towards him, her heart thumping. "Mr. Blake!" she called, kneeling at his side as he crumpled to the ground. Panic gripped the air around her, but she felt an unexpected calm wash over her. Something deep inside called her to act. "Mr. Blake, awake. Please." She gently tried to rouse him. Her small hands were surprisingly steady, each word laced with urgency and kindness. A spark flickered in his eyes, the flicker of life returning. But then she knew. He needed help. With the practiced determination of a child who had seen her mother juggle countless nights, she scrambled for the family's old minivan. As she clambered into the driver's seat, her hands trembled only slightly. She turned the key, and the engine wheezed before roaring to life. Emily took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment settle in her chest. "Let us go," she murmured, both to herself and to Mr. Blake, who was leaning against the seat, his breathing shaky but grateful. The familiar streets blurred by, the wind whipping through her hair. Emily's heart raced as they engaged in an unexpected conversation about dreams and the meaning of kindness. "I want to own a bakery one day," she confessed, "so everyone can have a sweet treat like cupcakes." Roger smiled weakly, raising an eyebrow. "You're going to make it happen, kiddo," he said, his words wrapping around her like a warm embrace. But as Emily's bravery began to capture the community's heart, whispers fluttered like angry birds. Where did she think she belonged? Murmured some, skepticism weaving a jagged line between wealth and struggle. The stares from neighbors pierced through her, their judgment heavy and palpable. Did they believe she could truly be a hero? Or was she simply the girl from the struggling end of town, undeserving of praise? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as the local news began to spotlight her act of courage, Emily felt the sting of doubt wash over her. Surrounded by contradictory murmurs and a sense of inadequacy, she questioned her worthiness. In a moment of climax, as townsfolk converged at a gathering, Roger stood strong before them. "She saved my life," he said, his eyes burning with sincerity. Emily's heart soared and plummeted at once. Would they choose to see her heart? Would they understand that kindness, not privilege, defines heroism? The crowd hushed, and a silence thick with tension enveloped the room. As each pair of eyes turned towards her, she felt that light flickering deep within again. Could it bridge the divide? Could her actions become the start of something bigger? As uncertainty lingered in the air, the spark of her future remained beautifully undefined, just like the lemonade she so warmly sold, waiting to quench the thirst for hope. Emily stood in the dim light of the town community hall, the weight of the crowd's eyes pressing down like a heavy blanket. Each face seemed to carry a different expectation, admiration, disbelief, judgment. Anxiety twisted in her stomach. She swallowed hard, the taste of fear lingering like bitter lemon juice. Roger Blake continued to speak, his voice steady. What she did today was beyond brave. It was a reflection of the strength we all have inside us. His eyes shone with genuine respect, highlighting her like a beacon in a foggy night. But her heart wouldn't allow herself to bask in the praise. All she could focus on were the murmurs that buzzed like angry bees. Does she think she can just drive through life? Someone whispered to another. Emily's cheeks burned. Did they believe she was just a child playing pretend? One brave moment doesn't define you, she imagined them saying. The familiar pain of inadequacy washed over her, tugging at her spirit, and then she saw it. A flicker of kindness in the back corner. Mrs. Turner, a retired school teacher, whom she admired for her warmth and wisdom. Their eyes met, and Emily felt that flicker grow. It was a small comfort, a reminder that someone believed in her entirely. Encouraged, she took a deep breath, trying to push the doubt out of her mind. When Roger stepped back, he gestured for her to say something. Emily, he said gently, the floor is yours. The words echoed and echoed until they settled heavily in her heart. Could she do this? Speak to a crowd that might not want to hear her. But something larger than fear propelled her forward, a seed of hope blossoming as she stepped to the front. Hi, everyone, she squeaked, the sound barely breaking through the silence. The room shifted slightly, eyes narrowing, waiting. She felt small but reminded herself of how much this moment mattered. I know I'm just a kid, she started, her voice catching in her throat. But I really believe that anyone can make a difference, no matter how little they are. Her words spilled out stories of her lemonade stand, dreams about baking and giving, moments from her life that echoed her mother's strength. With each honest word, she saw some faces soften, others lean in closer, curious. It doesn't matter who you are or how much money you have. It only matters how big your heart is. The tension in the room began to thaw. Hannah, the girl from 2 streets over who often ignored her, nodded slightly. Each nod flickered warmth into Emily's courage. It was electrifying, a shift she had never felt before. As she wrapped up her thoughts, the applause that erupted didn't feel just like claps but like gifts, wrapping her in a new sense of belonging. But then she felt a twinge, a shadow of doubt creeping back. What if this was just a fleeting moment and nothing would change? Amidst the cheers, a voice called out from the back, dark and doubtful, "It's easy to say things, Emily. What will you do next?" The air turned dense again, every head sliced sharply toward the interruption. That voice nagged at her insecurities, weighing heavily on her heart. In that moment, Emily realized she stood at a crossroads. Would she let doubt yoke her back? Or could she push forward and transform the community's perception of her? The crowd's reaction was uncertain. Did they want to see more from her? Could she be the bridge, not just for herself but for all those like her waiting for their moment of courage? The question hung in the air, filled with potential and fear. Just as the exhilaration of the clap faded, she found herself searching for the answer. What would she do next? Emily's heart began to pound again, but this time it was different. It felt like the ignition of a new journey, a chance to redefine herself not just in their eyes but her own. Emily's heart raced, each thud echoing louder than the last. The chamber felt constricted around her. With every second that passed, she could sense the crowd waiting, probing her for something profound. The weight of the question, "What will you do next?" danced ominously in her mind. She found herself scratching the back of her palms together, a nervous habit she had for as long as she could remember. It was as if she stood on a precipice, ready to leap. But was she going to leap into doubt or into purpose? What came next was uncharted territory, and she needed more than courage, she needed a plan. Maybe I could, she whispered to herself, the words barely a breath. What if I started a community project? The idea wrinkled her brow but also brought a spark to her heart. A summer fair where we raise money for those in need. The thought tumbled out, laced with excitement and uncertainty. She had often fantasized about the fair, imagined the games, the laughter, the way it might bring everyone together. These dreams floated in her mind like balloons, and now they had a tether. Emily looked out at the eyes that had both glared and admired her moments before. With a deep breath, she cleared her throat. What if we all worked together to create something big? Her voice steadied as she spoke, gaining confidence with every word. We could have booths with homemade treats, games for everyone, and music. A ripple passed through the crowd, at once curious and amazed. Roger leaned forward, his interest evident. Was this it? Was she truly taking a step, not just for herself but for everyone around her? What do you think? She pressed, meeting eyes with some of the faces who had previously looked skeptical. We could raise funds not just to help families, but to create something special for our town. It could even become an annual event. A young boy in the front squirmed, glancing at his friends. What if nobody comes? He asked, a genuine concern breaking through. It was a valid worry. Emily felt her chest tighten, but instead of retreating, she pressed forward. Then we try harder. If it's about helping and making connections, isn't that worth it? Slowly, a murmur of agreement spread across the room. Even the looming figure who had questioned her in the back appeared to soften, his expression a mixture of skepticism melting into intrigue. Yeah! Shouted someone from the left, a teen who usually stuck to the shadows at school. Let us do it. Everyone can chip in. Cheers began to swell, echoing off the walls. A spark ignited in Emily's chest, propelling her forward. She hadn't just suggested an event, she had given them all something to believe in, and in that moment, everything shifted. As the energy built, as excitement rippled through the community, Emily thought back to the whispers that had haunted her earlier. This was her next step, a way to redefine who she was, a conduit of hope, not just in her own life, but in the lives of others. But lurking under the thrill was still that persistent question, was this all real? Could she truly lead an event of this magnitude? A heavy lump formed in her throat, doubts still swirled. What if she stumbled? What if she failed? Just then, a hush fell over the crowd as Mrs. Turner stood up, eyes shimmering with warmth. Emily, her voice rang out, attention drawn back to her. You're not just brave. You're a leader. More applause erupted, but this time it was different. This applause felt like a blanket of warmth wrapping around her insecurities. Yet for every positive nod, every clapping hand, something else tightened her chest. Would they continue to support her as the event unfolded? As joyful laughter filled the hall, and plans began to spark among the members of the crowd, that single lingering doubt shadowed Emily's heart. What if her drive wasn't enough to move them through challenges, to bring them all together? The question floated in the air, teasing her once more with its uncertainty. Could she truly be the leader they needed? The hall buzzed with excitement. Ideas bounced around like fireflies, bright and eager, filling the air with a sense of possibility. Emily watched, heart swelling and sinking at the same time. Laughter echoed, and voices intertwined, but in the frenzy of it all, her mind began to spin. What if no one took her seriously? A community event was no small feat. She blinked, trying to shake off the nagging fears that threatened to drown out the joy. But as she turned her gaze back to the crowd, one person at a time, she saw more than just faces. She saw potential, the faces of her neighbors, friends, and even those she barely knew, all eager to lend a hand. Roger stepped forward, enthusiasm radiating from him. We can have a bake-off. Everyone can enter their best pies. The crowd erupted into applause, and Emily felt a flicker of warmth where her worries resided. Enthusiasm ignited conversations. A group of older women waved their hands, discussing how they could create handmade crafts. Children jumped up and down, clamoring for game ideas, each shouting louder than the last. Emily found herself smiling wide at this explosion of creativity. It was the energy she had wished for, but now it was using her as a vessel, flowing through her like a rushing river. Suddenly, she sensed a shift in the air. Glancing to her left, she spotted Mrs. Turner stepping into the aisle, clutching a notebook. I think we should make this event more than just a fair, she announced, her voice steady yet inviting. Let us create a community service aspect, collect supplies for schools, food for the hungry. The applause was thunderous. Emily's pulse quickened. Ideas layered upon each other, each more ambitious than the last. But for every cheer, doubt crept back in. Emily couldn't quiet her mind. Could they really pull all this off? Especially with her leading the charge. Breathe, Emily. Just breathe. Can we trust you to make this happen, Emily? A voice in the back called out, breaking through her thoughts. The iconic face of Mr. Whitmore materialized before her, arms crossed and expression serious. Emily's heart plummeted. I believe we can, she stammered, squeezing her eyes shut for a brief moment. Belief is one thing, he continued, eyes narrowing slightly. Execution is another. His comment sparked discomfort within her, a wave of insecurity crashing hard. But then she remembered Mrs. Turner's support and the fervor surrounding her. Something had sparked in the crowd, and they were looking to her. She raised her chin slightly, choosing to embrace the moment. We'll work together. I promise we can do it. All of us. With everyone's passion combined, we can make a real difference. The affirmation hung in the air, and slowly the crowd began to rally, bolstering her courage. Someone shouted suggestions for booths, another offered to run a talent show. Energy surged as thoughts cascaded uncontrollably, and with it, her worries began to dim, but the wavering sense of doubt still loomed overhead. Was she enough for this? What if they needed her to make decisions? What if others disagreed? The responsibility weighed heavily on her chest, tightening like a noose that in the midst of the chaos, a small voice piped up, a boy from earlier, the one who had questioned her about turnout. If we all work together, will you promise to give it your best, Emily? She locked eyes with him, the innocence of his question slicing through her uncertainties. I promise, she whispered. Not just my best, but all of us. A cheer erupted once more, laughter resonating through the room. Yet as the evening continued and plans blossomed, uncertainty sank in anew. Could she really balance this with school and home? What if distractions arose? As the sun dipped outside, casting shadows against the walls, Emily felt the weight of her growing aspiration. Was she truly ready for this? And as the laughter flowed around her, an unnerving thought clawed at the edge of her mind. What if they deemed her unworthy when the moment of truth arrived? The next few days flew by in a whirlwind. Emily found herself caught between excitement and anxiety as her vision for the community event took shape. She jotted down ideas in her notebook, the words blurring together, fueled by both inspiration and fear. It was like trying to catch smoke with her bare hands. What if it all slipped away? Mrs. Turner had rallied the older women, and they organized craft workshops. Roger was busy securing donations for the bake-off, his enthusiasm infectious. Yet, as Emily watched them dive into their tasks, she struggled to shake the thunderclouds of doubt gathering in her mind. Their efforts illuminated flaws she feared they might uncover about her leadership. Hey, Em. You got a moment? Roger called, pulling her from her thoughts one evening. He was beaming, a sheet of paper clutched tightly in his hand. Sure. She replied, forcing a smile as she tried to shake off her worries. Guess what? We got a local bakery to sponsor the bake-off. They'll provide ingredients and a gift basket for the winner. Emily's eyes widened. Really? That's amazing. Right? It's a huge boost. And I think we're going to attract some serious talent. People will get excited. As Roger spoke, Emily felt a flicker of the initial joy spark again, but it was swallowed by the nagging fear. What if it wasn't enough? But before she allowed those thoughts to surface, she took a deep breath and grabbed his arm. Roger, thank you. This is going to make a difference. I really appreciate you. He shrugged it off, but the glimmer in his eyes told her he understood. They shared a moment of camaraderie, a silent promise that they were in this together. Over the next few days, Emily threw herself into planning. She met with different groups, discussing ideas and connecting with people who were eager to help. The hall, once just the backdrop of her anxieties, began transforming into a place of camaraderie and creation. Signs of progress surrounded her, colorful flyers plastered on poles, laughter echoing from planning meetings, the buzz of excitement contagious. Yet, even as smiles and laughter breathed life into the event, shadows of anxiety loomed large. The week before the fair, she received a message on her phone that sent a chill down her spine. It was from an old friend, one she hadn't spoken to since high school. "Hey. I heard about the fair. Hope it's going well. But is it really going to happen? Heard rumors that it's falling through." Every word was a dagger. Emily's heart skipped, her earlier confidence shaken anew. She wanted to respond, to reassure them that everything was fine, but the weight of doubt settled heavily like stones in her stomach. What if she couldn't measure up? What if she let everyone down? She clicked her phone off, suffocating a gasp. The image of the event, once glowing with promise, flickered like a candle in a gust. Would the community rally behind her, or would she falter under their watchful eyes? As Saturday approached, the day they had all been working toward loomed closer. The hall stood ready for the fair, decorated with string lights and colorful banners. Donations sat piled up in the corner, tantalizing glimpses of the potential joy to come. But when the morning sun broke over the horizon, illuminating the cracks of uncertainty looming over her, Emily felt completely unprepared. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her racing heart. There was no going back now. Just then, the little boy from earlier, the one who had asked her about her promise, approached her tentatively, holding a small pouch of colorful marbles. "Are you okay, Emily?" he asked, his wide eyes filled with genuine concern. She knelt down to his level, her smile faltering. "I'm just a little scared," she admitted softly. "Scared? But why? You made a promise, right? A promise to give your best." In that moment, Emily felt the weight of his words. They resonated deep within her. The promise she made wasn't just to everyone else, it was to herself, too. But as they stood, their eyes locked, an unexpected wave of uncertainty washed over her again. The fair was mere hours away, and everything depended on her. What if it all came crashing down? Would anyone still believe in her when the moment of truth arrived? As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting warm rays over the hall, Emily felt her stomach twist into knots. She watched people trickle in, smiles plastered on faces, eager to celebrate the fair they had all worked so hard to create. Every laugh, every cheerful voice was a reminder of the anticipation that hung in the air, and the fear that clawed at her insides. The little boy, Nathan, took a step back, his fidgeting hand still clutching the colorful marbles. "You'll be okay, right? I'm excited to see all the cool things." His innocent optimism was a balm to her nerves. If only for a moment, Emily forced a smile, pushing away the choking dread. "Thanks, Nathan. I just have to remind myself why we're doing this." She straightened, her eyes scanning the bustling crowd that had started to fill the hall. Folks from all corners of the community were arriving, their chatter blending into a vibrant tapestry of excitement. Roger came into view, arms full of baked goods, grinning as he maneuvered through the crowd. "Look at this place. It's amazing." He set everything down on a table piled high with goodies, his enthusiasm infectious. "The winning cake is going to blow everyone away." Her heart warmed at his spirit. "You think so?" "Definitely. Just look around." He gestured toward the decorations, bright banners, hand-painted signs, and tables laden with handmade crafts. "This is going to be a hit, Em. Just you wait." Encouraged by his confidence, Emily nodded slowly, allowing a smile to sneak back onto her face. Yet, each compliment felt like a flickering light, as if the next gust of doubt could easily blow it out again. As the event kicked off, she moved through the crowd, talking to attendees, watching people light up as they discovered the different booths. The laughter was contagious, the music uplifting. But anxiety whispered in her ear, as she hovered at the fringes of the festivities, afraid to join, as though stepping in could shatter the magic. "Emily!" Mrs. Turner called, waving her over. "You have to see this. The craft workshop is full. Everyone's loving it." With a hesitant smile, she approached the table where women of all ages were weaving ribbons, painting pots, and chatting joyfully. It was beautiful, the very essence of community. Yet, the weight of responsibility felt heavier. She could almost hear the whispering doubts bubble up. What if they were just being polite? What if they secretly felt she wasn't up to the task? "Come on, Em. This is our moment." Roger's voice pulled her back from the depths of her worry. Emily took a breath, pushing aside her fears. She stepped forward, becoming part of the lively conversation, allowing herself to feel the joy in the room. Maybe, just maybe, this was more than just an event, it was a gathering that could weave them all closer together. But as the laughter peaked, Emily's phone buzzed again, this time vibrating violently in her pocket. With shaky hands, she pulled it out, her heart plummeting when she saw the name flashing on the screen. It was her old friend again. "Em, we really need to talk. I can't shake the feeling this is going to fall apart." Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes. How could she answer that? Would admitting her inner chaos make it real? Suddenly, a loud crash echoed behind her. She turned just in time to see a table tipped over, pastries rolling onto the floor. Gasps erupted, and all eyes turned toward the scene. Panic surged through her. Would this be the moment that turned the tide against her? But as she stepped forward, heart racing, her voice rang out clear and strong. "It's okay. We'll fix it." In that instant, with the chaos before her, Emily realized she had a choice. She could let fear consume her or embrace the beauty of imperfection. As the community rallied to help clean up the mess, she felt something shift within her. The fair wasn't about being perfect. It was about being human. Together, but amidst the laughter still hung a question: could she keep that spirit alive as the day wore on? Would her heart hold fast against the weight of expectations? With that thought, she stole a glance at her watch. The bake-off was about to begin. What awaited her there? Emily took a deep breath as she made her way to the bake-off area. The buzz of excitement enveloped her, but the anxiety was still there, lurking just beneath the surface. She glanced over the tables piled high with cakes, cookies, and pies, each more extravagant than the last. It was a feast for the eyes, but her heart raced, gripped tight by the impending competition. Roger stood at the entryway, waving her over. "You're going to want to see this." There was an urgency in his tone, one that made her stomach twist again. She approached him, ready to dive into whatever drama was unfolding. A group of judges sat at the front table, faces serious as they examined the first entries. Emily's gaze darted to a familiar cake, one she recognized as her mother's old recipe, topped with a swirl of elegant frosting and delicate flowers. It was as if her mother had walked back into her life, filling the room with warmth, yet the memory pierced her with both joy and sorrow. "What do you think?" Roger asked, eyeing her cautiously. "It looks amazing," she said, but her voice cracked. Seeing the cake made everything feel heavier. All the memories of baking together, laughter mingled with the scent of vanilla and almond, flooded back. Her mother had baked with love, and now it felt like an echo of something lost. "Emily." Roger's hand rested on her shoulder, steadying her. "You okay?" "Yeah, just thinking." She shook her head, trying to brush it off. "Let us focus on the bake-off." The fair was more than just a distraction for her. It was hope, a way to keep her mother's spirit alive. The first contestants lined up, and Emily took her place behind the judging table, heart steadying just a little with every familiar face she saw among the spectators. The first cake was presented, and the judges leaned forward, scrutinizing it. The contestants beamed, full of pride and anticipation. As the judging began, the first slice of cake was presented for tasting. A mix of applause and muffled cheers filled the air, and Emily couldn't help but smile as the judges savored each bite, giving nods of approval. For a moment, it felt as if the whole community was drawn together in this shared joy, laughter rising like the sweet scent of freshly baked goods, but then, a commotion erupted from the back. A man stumbled forward, grabbing his stomach, confusion leaping from his wide eyes. Faces in the crowd shifted from joy to concern. Nathan, still clutching his marbles, looked on with worry etched across his youthful face. "Someone call an ambulance." A voice rang out among the crowd as the man collapsed to the floor. In an instant, Emily's heart dropped. She took a step forward, pushing through the gathering crowd. "I'm a nurse," she yelled, her stomach twisting with uncertainty. With every stride, the warmth of the fair faded, replaced by a chilling urgency. "Help me!" someone cried, and without thinking, Emily dropped to the man's side. She instinctively checked for a pulse, her nursing instincts kicking in despite her anxious heart. The crowd's murmurs faded as she focused on his breathing, guiding him gently to lay flat on the cool ground. "Stay with me," she urged, trying to catch the eye of someone above reality as she began to assess the situation. Her heart raced, darting between professional calm and the panic that filled her mind. What if she couldn't help him? What if he didn't make it? As sirens wailed in the distance, the once vibrant atmosphere became heavy with dread. Just when things had felt light, suddenly they were steeped in tension. Looking up, Emily caught Nathan's eyes filled with worry. Is he going to be okay? In that moment, Emily realized, it wasn't just the fair that was at stake, it was the vulnerable connection they all shared. Could she be strong enough to carry that weight, to bring them back to laughter? A small voice whispered within, urging her forward, but the uncertainty lingered ominously. Just as the medics arrived, Emily shot a fleeting glance at Roger, her blood pounding in her ears. What awaited them all after this? Would the fair survive? The darkness that just crept in. Emily's world narrowed to the sounds around her, the murmur of worried voices, the distant echo of laughter breaking through the tension, and her own heartbeat that thudded relentlessly in her ears. As the paramedics rushed to the collapsed man, she felt a sudden surge of both helplessness and determination. Standing back, watching the professionals take over, her hands trembled slightly. "Easy does it," one of the medics said, calm in the chaos. They worked swiftly, establishing a rhythm that made her breath a little easier. Emily could only stand by and watch, her heart warring between despair and hope. Looking over at Nathan, she saw his young face, serious and stricken. "It's going to be okay," she whispered to him, even though a clutch of doubt lodged firmly in her throat. That moment, Roger came up beside her. "You did what you could, Em," he reassured her, but she felt anything but reassured. She couldn't shake the feeling that more needed to be done. The crowd, eyes glued to the scene, seemed to hold their breath. Every second felt like an eternity as the paramedics worked. Outside, the fair continued to buzz, oblivious to the gravity enveloping their little bubble. Emily gripped the edge of the judging table, her knuckles pale, trying to reconcile her feelings. This fair was meant to celebrate, to unite. Now it felt like they were teetering on the edge of something darker. Suddenly, the man began to moan, and the medics responded with renewed urgency. One of them glanced back toward Emily, reading something in her eyes, perhaps her nursing training, maybe the desperate concern pooling there. "Can you help?" The medic's voice was steady, yet there was an underlying thread of frantic expectation. Emily nodded, the instinct to help overriding her fear. She stepped forward again, pushing the crowd aside as she joined the team. They guided her movements, telling her what needed to be done. Her hands were steady now, and as they worked, she felt a connection to the man on the ground, to the community surrounding them, and to her mother, who had always taught her the value of service and love through simple acts of kindness. "Let us get him stabilized," the medic instructed, and with every act, she felt an echo of her mother's spirit guiding her. As if the warm rays of reminiscence were reaching out, wrapping around her and filling her with a sense of purpose, finally, after what felt like an eternity, they secured the man onto a stretcher. The moment he was lifted, a ripple of relief spread through the crowd. Emily looked up and met Nathan's gaze again. This time, his expression held a glimmer of hope. "Is he okay?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. "He is on his way to getting help," Emily replied softly, but the truth was still veiled in uncertainty. As the ambulance doors slammed shut, the crowd began to disperse. The fair's atmosphere was quieter now, shadows gathering where there had once been joy. Emily's heart still raced, but mingled with that was an unexpected wave of strength. "Let us not lose our spirit," Roger said, his eyes scanning the crowd. "We can keep the joy alive for him. This fair is for everyone, including him." He encouraged a few people to pitch in, and slowly, laughter began to bubble back up. Emily felt the tension inside her start to ease. Maybe there was a chance to reclaim the day. Maybe joy lingered just beneath the surface, waiting to be coaxed back into the light. But as she looked at the baking tables now, the cakes and pies looked somehow different, shadows creeping over their sweet colors. The competition had taken on a new weight, as if the stakes were higher than just who could bake the best dish. Something stirred deep within her, a question bubbling to the surface: how do you honor a moment and keep moving forward? Just as she pushed the thought aside, her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a message from an unknown number. Emily hesitated, her heart racing once again. What could it be? She opened it slowly. The message was brief but alarming: "We need to talk about last night. It's about your mom." Emily's heart plunged. The strands of emotion she had just begun to weave back together knotted in her chest. She quickly typed back, asking who it was, but her fingers quaked slightly and she hit send before she had even finished. Nathan nudged her gently, breaking her thoughts. "You okay? You look pale." "Yeah, just," she started, but the words caught in her throat. How could she explain? It felt like the weight of an invisible anchor had dropped within her. She forced a smile in response and looked back over the fairgrounds. The laughter and smiles were returning, but the shadows cast by the last hour loomed larger in her mind. She noticed a few children gathered around a balloon artist, their faces lit up with awe, but the joyous picture seemed distorted for her now. Emily glanced to where the ambulance had been parked moments ago, its absence a stark reminder of the seriousness that had unfolded. Roger was speaking to a small group under the banner of the bake-off, encouraging them to start judging their creations despite the lingering atmosphere of concern. Emily's gaze fell on one particular cake decorated with delicate flowers. It stood out against the backdrop of ordinary baked goods. It reminded her of the cakes her mother used to create, laden with love and intricate detail. A wave of nostalgia washed over her, thick with sorrow. "Let us go judge the cakes, shall we?" Nathan suggested, pulling her from her reverie. "Oh, yeah, okay," she nodded, letting him guide her toward the tables, but underneath her skin, the tension buzzed. That message continued to unravel every thread of stability she had tried to regain. As they walked, Emily found herself drifting. Did it have anything to do with her mother? Last night seemed so far away, yet so close. Her thoughts ricocheted between moments of joy, the man on the ground, and the message. Each pulse of her heartbeat was a reminder of the myriad feelings all crashing at once. Uncertainty. Concern. Fear mingled with hope. Listen. Nathan's voice broke through her thoughts. "I think you should taste this one." He handed her a slice of lemon cake. She took a bite, the sweetness awakening something deep inside her. "Wow," she muttered, feigning a smile, but her heart wasn't quite in it. "Seriously. You have to try it without frowning, or else it'll taste bad. See? I'm smiling." He grinned, his front teeth slightly crooked but earnest. She chuckled, the laugh coaxing warmth back into her chest for a moment. All right. I'll work on my smile," she said, but inwardly she knew she had to face that message. She had to know what it meant. Suddenly, a loud announcement came over the fairground speakers. "Attention, everyone. We have a special award for the best spirit shown during our bake-off. It's given in the name of Emily's mom, who taught us all about kindness. Emily's breath caught. They named an award after her mother. Tears pricked her eyes as the crowd erupted in applause. Whispers of her mother's legacy wafted through the crowd. Honoring a legacy was beautiful, but it felt daunting. She needed to do more, be more, not just for her mother but for herself. Roger approached her, a knowing look on his face. "You're going to be all right, Em. This is just the beginning." Emily nodded slowly, but uncertainty still flickered in her chest. What did that message mean? And why did it resonate with the anniversary of her mother's passing? As she felt the pulse of life around her, laughter, hope, and joy, she couldn't shake the feeling that something crucial was just out of reach. Would she gather the courage to unveil the truth about last night? The fair spun on around her, but deep down, she knew her journey was only just beginning. Emily stood transfixed, the warmth of applause melting into the fabric of her heart. The weight of the award named after her mother hung heavy with meaning, saturating the vibrant fair atmosphere with an indescribable blend of admiration and anxiety. Her mother had once painted life with sweetness, and now, Emily was tasked with filling that canvas anew. How could she stand in her mother's shadow and still be bright enough to shine? As if sensing her turmoil, Roger stepped beside her, a steady presence amidst the swirling emotions. "You did this, Em. Your mom would be proud," he said, offering a reassuring smile. She took a shaky breath, the recognition sinking in deeper than anything else. The legacy of kindness echoed like a favorite lullaby, comforting yet somehow burdensome. Just then, a small voice interrupted her thoughts. "Emily? Is everything okay?" Nathan's innocent concern cut through like sunshine on a cloudy day. His youthful sincerity stirred something inside her, a reminder that the fair was more than just an event. It was a tapestry of connection. "Yeah, Nathan, I'm okay," Emily replied, her smile becoming more genuine. It was incredible how the little boy was like a beacon of hope, lighting the way through her uncertainty. "You ready to try some more cake?" He nodded enthusiastically. "Let's taste it all. For your mom." And just like that, with the simplicity of a child's trust, Emily started to dissolve her worries. They moved from one table to the next, laughing and giggling, tasting sweet confections that danced on their tongues. Each cake offered sparkling moments of joy, snippets of life reflecting her mother's passionate spirit, but as the laughter swirled around them, Emily felt the pang of that earlier message resurface. Was she ready for whatever revealed itself from the past? Her phone buzzed again, its vibration sending a shiver down her spine. She whipped it out hurriedly, removing herself from the joyful bubble around her. "Em, we need to talk," the text read, "about your mom." Emily's heart raced, a sinking weight forming in her chest. She needed to face this. There was no denying it anymore. She turned to Nathan. "Hold on a sec, okay? I'll be right back." Pushing through the fairgrounds, she headed toward a quiet corner, stealing a few moments for clarity. The skies above were blue, vibrant with life, yet the shadow inside her loomed dark. Taking a deep breath, she typed a response. "Who is this? What do you want to know?" The reply came instantly. "I have information about your mother. Important stuff. Meet me at the park bench behind the fountain." Emily's fingers trembled as she processed the words, a tumult of emotions swirling within her. Was this the moment she had feared? The truth about her mother that had hung over her bittersweet memories? This was the moment to embrace the unknown. Gathering her resolve, she pressed send, ready to confront whatever this meeting promised. Returning to where laughter bubbled like joyful currents, she saw Roger and the crowd eagerly engaged in a guessing game, their spirits still alight from the fair's earlier chaos. He caught her eye and gestured, inviting her back into their joyful circle, but the weight of her mission tugged at her heart like an anchor. "Emily." Roger spotted her uncertainty. "Everything all right?" "Yeah," she said, those words feeling heavier on her tongue. "Just something I need to do." With a nod, Roger squeezed her shoulder. "You'll come back stronger, Em. Taking one last look at the buoyant atmosphere surrounding her, she steeled herself for what awaited. The journey toward understanding her mother's life had begun, and she needed to know, was her mother's legacy still hopeful? Would understanding her help Emily redefine herself? As she walked toward the park bench behind the fountain, the moment before the dawn felt electric. Questions buzzed in her mind, urging her to cross the bridge into her past. The fountain bubbled cheerfully, sunlight dancing across the water, a stark contrast to the storm of emotion within her. The figure waiting by the bench was just a silhouette at first, but as she drew closer, recognition washed over Emily, a remote friend from her past, someone whose life had collided briefly with her mother's. "Why are you here?" Emily asked quietly, acutely aware of how much was at stake. "Because, Emily, there's so much about your mom you didn't know. Things that will change how you see everything." Feeling the ground shift beneath her, a shiver of apprehension coursed through her. "What do you mean?" The friend took a deep breath, the sun casting long shadows. "Your mom was more than a baker, Em. She had dreams that were interrupted. And it's time you know the truth." That moment felt pivotal, a crossroads illuminating a new path. It was as if Emily's heart beat in tune with the chime of the fountain, each sound a reminder that her journey toward identity and belonging had only just begun. Would the revelations bring healing, or would they lay bare more questions than answers? "Let us talk," she managed, her voice steady, ready, despite the butterflies fluttering in her stomach. As she settled onto the bench, a new journey of understanding unfolded before her, a journey that could redefine her connection to her mother, her town, and herself. The fair shimmered in the distance, a symbol of hope, but the real work lay ahead, the work of bridging the past with a courageous future. And within that realization, Emily understood she could carve out her identity by embracing the truth and shaping it into something beautifully her own. With every revelation ahead, she would rise, stronger and more defined by the kindness that burst from within her heart. As the sun dipped lower, painting the sky with brilliant hues, Emily felt a spark ignite, a promise for tomorrow, brightened by a legacy of love that would never fade. Now, if you've resonated with Emily's journey and the power of transformation in our stories, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and help us keep bringing these inspiring tales to life. And don't forget to comment below with your feelings about this ending. What did it mean to you? Share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to spread the love. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.